We're at the site of Olympia, Greece, known of course for the Olympic Games, which began in 776 BC, a tradition that was restored in the modern era. This of course was the primary sanctuary of Zeus, and the remains of his temple stand behind us. But this was not only a site that was important to Zeus, it is in fact one whose history reflects the gradual development and evolution of Greek religion and mythology. Known to students of Hesiod as the succession myth, this is the idea that different gods and ideas and religious streams were brought together and organized in a genealogical framework to try to bring these different cultures and religious ideas together. So, behind us here we have a pit which reflects one of the earliest settlements on this site. In the early Helladic period, there was apparently a settlement here where people worshipped mother goddess figures. Then in the late Helladic period, the Mycenaean period, apparently the worship of Kronos, the father of the gods, began, and this hill in historical periods was known as the Kronion, still remembering that. Of course, Kronos fell in disrepute as he was overthrown by Zeus and his children, but his wife Rhea continued to be worshipped here, later in the form of the mother of the gods, the remains of whose temple can be seen there. Rhea, of course, was the mother of Zeus, and myth had it that Zeus was born here on this spot. Rhea secreted him away, however, where he was raised in secrecy in Crete. Later, the idea that this was originally the shrine of mother goddesses is reflected by the fact that the first actual temple built here was that to Hera, Zeus's sister and wife. In the geometric period, however, the worship of Zeus became paramount, and the games that were celebrated in his honor were celebrated once again behind us in the distance where the stadium was. You can see an archway behind the later temple of the Mother of the Gods where the athletes in the Hellenistic period would enter the stadium. This site was connected with all of the Greek world. Two different myths connected the west and the east with this site. One myth had a figure from Italy named Alpheus who chased the nymph all the way from Italy to here, finally caught her, and he gave his name to the river Alpheus, which runs on this site. The other myth was that of Pelops, who came from Lydia or Asia Minor and was able to take control of this area. And there was a mound originally here where Pelops was worshipped as a hero. Behind the Temple of Hera, you see a Hellenistic structure, a few columns standing there. That was begun by Philip, king of Macedon, and finished by his son Alexander the Great. Because successive rulers of this area, both Hellenistic kings and Roman emperors, patronized it and tried to advertise themselves by putting up statues and shrines, monuments on this site. It also reflects the demise of Greek religion. The Emperor Theodosius, in the late 4th century, ended the Olympic Games, claiming that worshiping a pagan god through such a public spectacle was not in harmony with the Christianity of the empire at that time. And later in the 6th century, early 6th century, Theodosius II closed all pagan temples, and these temples began to fall into disrepair. An earthquake in the 600s leveled the site, and later a flood of the Alpheus River covered most of it in mud until it was unearthed by German archaeologists in the late 1800s.